this.
Okay.
So Fahad, welcome to this debriefing session, and congratulations on that 770. So how
Thank
does it feel?
It feels amazing. So
So
obviously,
you say that again. So
yeah, I said after scoring a 770, it should feel amazing.
it should feel amazing, yes, especially because you have this fantastic verbal score and a really great quant score, the Q49 V46, which is wonderful. So you weren't expecting a 770. You said you would have been happy with a 740, 750. After
I would
that
have
seven.
740, 750. That's right.
Okay. So let's start with your preparation. So you talked about this, and you said you started your preparation has been more like it's a 3-step preparation. You started sometime in you said April, but then you weren't serious till July.
April, yeah, I just glanced through the exam structure. I was just familiar myself with the structure of the exam, what all materials I'll be working with. That's pretty much it. I started in July.
You started in July, then you took coaching from a local coaching center for about. So how long was that? Actually, we didn't talk about that. So you said it was the total engagement was 40 hours, but over what kind of duration?
Duration of 2 months, less than 2 months.
Less than 2 months. Okay. And then you kind of said, okay, this is not enough. I am not able to improve my verbal score. So that's when you purchased e-GMAT and you said, I'm going to take the test in 2 months or so.
Not after I finished the coaching, but after I joined, I started taking a few classes. I thought, okay, there must be a better way to learn these things. And then I came across e-GMAT and I took a trial version, and then yeah, it did sell me. And I took the full version.
Okay. So the trial version, you said the explanations made sense to you, and that's kind of how you decided.
That's right, because compared to the other explanations I had, the e-GMAT explanations were probably the best explanations I have had from an online source.
Okay. All right. And so when you did that, and we didn't talk about this, but you did create your study plan over here, and I have your study plan in front of me. So you see this over here?
Yeah.
And so you had this, and again, clearly you actually took the exam in October, um, whereas the study plan said you should have done that in towards mid of August or so. So first of all, when you were doing this, you had
Yeah.
6 hours per day on a weekday and 2 hours per day on the weekend. Were you able to put in that kind of effort?
Not really.
Not really.
Exactly.
Okay.
When I did make the study plan, I was overly optimistic.
Mhm.
At the time I would be able to commit,
Mhm.
but I don't think I was able to put 6 hours into it every day.
How much do you think you were able to put into it every day?
3 hours, three to 4 hours.
And what about weekends?
Weekends even less.
Weekends even less. Okay. So I actually did change that study plan of yours. I don't know if you ever tried doing that. I changed it to 2 hours on weekdays and 2 hours on the weekend. And this is towards the end of September, which is pretty close to when you actually took the first attempt.
Well, I was planning to take the exam around in the midst of September,
Hmm.
but I had some problem with the MBAccount.com. My nationality was Costa Rica for some reason, so I was talking back and forth with the customer service. That took a long time just to change my nationality.
Your nationality was listed as Costa Rica on MBA.com?
Yeah, I had to
How
see.
the hell did they figure that?
I don't know. Well, anyway, talking back and forth, it took so much time.
Okay. So you were ready middle of September is what you're saying.
Most of September, yeah.
Okay. All right. So let's kind of talk about your preparation. So you joined this center in 2 weeks. You switched over to the e-GMAT course, and you went through SC. So how different was going through SC versus actually going through their lessons?
Well, compared to their lessons, e-GMAT, like I said, the ability to visualize those concepts really helped me bolster down those concepts in my brain. Compared to what they would teach on a whiteboard or how they would tell me things, when it was shown on the screen with animations and highlighting and all the other things that e-GMAT provides us with,
Mm-hmm.
I could understand the concepts much better. There had been times when I would go to the center for the coaching and they would teach me these things. I would come back, hop on e-GMAT and learn those concepts again and be like, okay, this is how it's supposed to be. This is how it works.
Okay. And so you actually did pretty well. I was looking at your dashboard, your course dashboard over here in SC. You didn't finish the entire course. You did about 70% of the course.
Uh,
But your scores in concept and application files, actually, let me just share your metrics. Your metrics are pretty good over here. And you used the modifiers, parallelism. You pretty much did everything, which they were the key files over there. So that's really good, and I can see good time spent on application files over here. And similarly in parallelism also, application file 1 good time spent, application file 2 almost an hour. You spend almost an hour on these ones over here. So other than that, I think you were very good in CR. I was actually looking at your first mock. This is your first mock, and even in the first mock you scored almost a perfect score in CR.
yeah, the CR wasn't particularly hard for me to begin with.
Hmm.
What I was bad at was the reading comprehension because I don't know,
Yes.
and the S, which I did learn with the e-GMAT.
Yes. You also spend a lot of time in Scholaranium because if I remember correctly.
That was phenomenal.
So how
The
did you utilize Scholaranium?
well, for example, if I had to know where my weak spots are and where I should be focusing on,
Mm,
where I should be studying more or putting more time in
mm,
to get the most return on investment, yeah,
mm.
that's where I think Scholaranium helped me with.
So you use the skill data section to get your stats in there.
Yeah, where I was going wrong, what I should be focusing on, what I do not have much idea on. The data in Scholaranium helped me with that a lot.
Got it. Okay. How about the questions and the explanations? How did you use that?
The well, to begin with, the questions were all right. They were nice, but what really sets apart the e-GMAT, the data e-GMAT provides us with compared to other sources, was the quality of the answers or the explanations and the discussions below it.
And so how did that help you?
Even if the answer solutions didn't seem to make sense to me in the first place, I would just go through that discussion and I would see those my thoughts typed down by somebody else in those discussion forums.
Mhm.
They would have been answered already. I wouldn't even have to make a query about it.
Got it. So yeah, I think that part we really pride ourselves on this architecture that we have, where we say, hey, even before you ask a question, you will see
Yeah,
the answer to it. Because say that again.
I said that was very useful.
Yes, and that's the value of 10,000 people going through that content every year,
Yeah,
or so.
a lot of data to work with.
Yes, it's a lot of data to work with overall. Okay, so that's something which is there. And then I look at your Sigma mock attempt, and you scored before that 700 attempt of yours, you scored a 720 on the e-GMAT platform over there on 1st of October. So
Mhm.
it's kind of reasonably close to that score of 700 that you got, which, by the way, you said the test center was a big problem for you too.
The test center was a big problem for me because when I took my first test,
Hmm.
I didn't know what I was getting myself into. I didn't go check the test center myself. I
Hmm.
made that mistake of not going there personally and checking the test center myself. I went there, I didn't know what I was expecting. And even the questions, they seemed a bit different from what I was practicing the whole time. So even that got me like, oh, I don't know. I don't know. I haven't practiced this. I haven't seen this anywhere else. Combined with the constant tapping on the keyboard and people walking in and out of the test center and the outside noise, the background, everything, it was like a snowball effect. So one after the other just made the whole experience much worse.
Got it.
That
Um,
affected my nervousness too. The
so
whole
so so how many points do you think, if you, I know this is, we are guessing over here, but how many points if you were to allocate to that, he said this is what that bad test center cost me?
Well, at the time I took the first test, I was constantly scoring around 740 to 760 in
Hmm.
my GMAT practice exams.
Hmm.
So around 40 points, maybe.
Okay, I would probably give it 30
Yeah.
over there. So I think the question is, and then essentially you got that 700, you came back, you actually wrote to the e-GMAT team.
Yeah.
What insights did you get from writing to them?
Okay, they literally, I sent them my ESR. They took the extra step to go through the whole thing, analyze where I was going wrong, what I should be focusing on. And at that time, I hadn't focused on my quant. And I was quickly humbled after the test because my algebra and geometry scores were really bad, considered very weak. So they structured a plan and told me to focus on these areas, and I did. That was after my first test. I was going through the e-GMAT course for quant.
Got it.
Yeah. And I was thinking, okay, I'm scoring around 49, 50. I want to get a lower score. But after I got the 48, I was like, okay, I need to study well. That's when I did study. But regarding the verbal part, where they helped me the most, they helped me take my verbal score from a 37 to a 46, especially with RC.
With RC, yes.
55th percentile in my first test. That from there to 96, that's a significant jump. And I don't think I would have had the confidence at least to work my way up if it wasn't for the e-GMAT team.
So I mean, this is the areas. These are the areas you need to focus your energy in. Don't worry about these other areas. Worry about these areas, and then you went and really said, "Okay, this is what I'm going to focus on." Okay, that's good. So let's now talk about the second test center. I think given other people would be there in Abu Dhabi, so which is the first test center? Which is the second test center? I think we should call them out.
I don't think it's right to call them out, but
well, why not? I mean, why should people go to that first test center if it costs them $250, all of that mental pain?
Well, we could put it this way: before you actually book a test center, you should go there yourself and see for yourself what are the best options. Because in a region, if you're lucky, you would have more than one testing options, center options. So you should go check them all out personally before you commit to a test center.
Okay, which is the second one? Let's call the second one out.
Yeah, that's great. Yeah, we could do that. The second one was UAE Academy.
Okay, UAE Academy. Okay.
So UAE Academy. They're great.
Got it. Okay. Why did you not take the online GMAT? Curious question.
Yeah, because I did try. The whiteboard just wasn't for me.
But you have the physical whiteboard now, so
even the physical whiteboard, the markers, they were too big, and the constant erasing just wasn't for me.
Got it. So you tried with that. So did you buy a whiteboard and all of that stuff?
I didn't have to buy. I had my sister, so I did try.
Got it. All right. Okay. So no whiteboard for you.
Yeah, I don't think I was patient enough to wait 7 days for my test scores.
That was the other reason. Okay. Well, although it's now coming in by they're giving you those scores in a couple of days now. So even the official
get me the test before I took the test, yeah, I would go for that.
Okay. All right. That kind of makes sense. All right. So you did that. You went to this. So the new center, let's call it the UAE Academy. How many people were there? I think that's just kind of. So you said it was soundproofing. So it had soundproof.
Yeah, the room was soundproofed and it was very spacious compared to the other one. The other one, we only had seats for 5 people, and I think all five were filled.
Got it.
And this one, a capacity for I think 8 or 10 people. I think I saw 4 or 5 on one side, so there were 2 sides, 10 people, but it was just me and another guy.
Got it. And again, is there a reason? I mean, is the first one in a more densely populated center? Is that why?
Not really. I think some event was going on. It wasn't GMAT exam that they were writing. It was some other exam.
Got it. Okay. So it could also be just just your bad luck that you went during a time.
Probably, yeah.
But it's worthy to check out if the rooms are soundproofed.
I think everyone before taking a test should go to the test center personally and check those out themselves.
Got it. Okay. All right. I think so. This is a fair, I would say, assessment of your GMAT preparation. So 770, great score. I think it puts you in a solid spot for pretty much any business school in the world. And you have a high enough quant score, so you can apply to Harvard, Stanford, Wharton, GSP, Chicago if you choose to. Although I don't think you're choosing to do so for reasons where you want to go to.
Yeah, I was thinking Chicago. Because their real estate it's not bad.
Yes.
It's good.
Okay. So, is for your next steps, are there any questions that you would like for me to answer?
Uh, Probably this. I'm from a niche industry. I don't know how to put myself in a position to answer when they ask, okay, why do you need an MBA? How are you going to get a job after the MBA? Because when I went through the career reports of those universities, I couldn't find a university. I couldn't find my potential employers in the career reports because
Okay. Why do you think you need an MBA?
I need an MBA because, well, first I want to go to a company like that and learn best practices. But the main reason I want to come back to the family business,
Mhm.
take over it.
What's your
And
family business?
we are in the construction industry, building materials industry. We
Got
are
it.
supplying materials.
So, think about it this way, right? There's, I mean, when you think about the MBA, it's a horizontal degree, right? In many ways, yes, there are specializations in it. Yes, you learn digital marketing, which maybe is not as much of use to someone who's in building materials industry. So you learn those traits, which are what I call as more industry specific. But one of the big things that you learn when you do an MBA is leadership.
Leadership, yeah.
And the second thing that you learn is how do you build your strategy. I mean um, as a very basic thing, which is, for example, Porter's five forces. How do you build an industry structure, and how that impacts profitability. That core concept of what is a strategy and how should you invest in a long term strategy. How does brand impact the returns that you get. I mean, you bought the e-GMAT course, or invested in the trial because you saw e-GMAT being talked about in GMAT Club, right? So those are things that an MBA will give you, which you won't get anywhere else. It's like we as humans. I mean, we don't reinvent things on our own, right? We go to school to learn things that have been invented. In the same way, this is going to school to learn aspects of business so that you don't have to reinvent them on or for the first time
Yeah,
in your
that's
family business.
yeah. I was focusing more on the strategic and operations course.
Hmm.
And most of them even have courses like navigating a family business and scaling operations to take it overseas. That's one
Yes.
area I want to focus on. Like you said, just like you said, yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, those are so there are those relevant courses. There is the horizontal leadership part, which is to really say, okay, if you have to grow, how do you hire people?
Yeah.
What characteristics? I mean, working across, and if you want to go overseas, for example, working across geographies, we say people are different, yet leaders seem to have similar traits. How do you identify, those traits in someone who's an American versus someone who's a German versus someone who's French? And that's
Mhm.
where a business school gives you that ability when you work in cohorts to really say, okay, there are these commonalities
Yeah, between these people.
between these people. I mean, people are people.
True.
When whether you look at Babur, who came from the Middle East to India to conquer India, or whether you look at Napoleon, they were both leaders, they were both fierce, they were both determined. Even though one was from Turkey, and the other one was French.
Yeah. Yeah, I think business, yeah, it makes sense. You're making sense to me.
So it's like, let's understand what those traits are,
Yeah.
because the only way to grow is to do what others in your family have kind of not done, because you're kind of looking for that growth, which means that you will at times have to go against what they are saying. How do you justify that?
Yeah.
Because
Because we've
you can't really just say, sorry, I am right and you were wrong. You have to give a good justification because you want them on your side.
yeah, we've been running the business in the same way for about 8 to 9 years.
Hmm.
And it was just a one-man business. One man controlling the business. We had other people, but it was just in his perspective.
Hmm.
I think I need to change that, and that's why the business school is a requirement now. Yeah.
So I mean, that's where
But
you have family business
yeah,
as a stream.
yeah, but I'm talking about the in terms of employment. Where do you think I should be focusing on my employment right after my MBA?
So you want operations, you want operational knowledge,
Operational knowledge, yeah.
right? So you want to basically get a role where you are managing a ton of people,
Yeah.
whether it's real estate, whether it's supply chain. It's about setting up new processes where you have a high chance of failure and where you're interacting with people.
Well, yeah, if it's in the construction industry, I could use those connections to build up the business. Doesn't hurt.
Maybe, yes, you could, but I think that shouldn't be your. So your first job, you should focus on where can you get in where you're. I mean, the thing that you should not do is do something where you're dealing with geeks.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so you shouldn't go into a product management piece where you're interacting with engineers. On
Yeah.
the other hand, if you, as we were talking about this earlier, Amazon building more and more distribution centers, yeah, great place. Walmart helping them with their international expansion, great thing.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So I
Basically,
mean,
get me dealing with a lot of people.
dealing with
Operate,
a lot of people, operating and growing and investing.
investing.
Investing and seeing the fruits of it. You're talking about Tesla and building those gigafactories and being a part of that.
Makes sense. Yeah.
So
I was
any place with that is expanding, by the way.
I could, but what do you think I should be writing in my essays regarding my career?
I mean, that's basically what you want to come back to family business. So this
Yeah.
is as a next step, it's a stepping stone.
Yeah. After my MBA, I should be linking my past experience to something in operations and strategies and come back to
Yes.
this.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. That's a good way to go about it.
That's basically it. And this is what your consultant at MBA Mission should also tell you. I think
Yeah.
so.
Yeah, he was giving me a lot of ideas regarding that. I
So,
wanted,
so say that again.
I wanted to get a second eye on the same idea, which
Yeah,
is
I mean, it just makes sense. I mean,
it does.
so
There's that.
so yeah, I think so it was really good talking to you, Fahad. Once again, congratulations on that 770.
Thank you so much.
And again, please keep me updated as to how you go about it. I think you should start getting your decisions sometime around February or so.
Yeah, March.
February, March. Okay. Yes. Oh, well, most likely you would start hearing around February is what my hypothesis is.
The decisions?
The early your application is going to be towards early January, right?
Yeah, early January.
So the decisions start coming in early enough to.
Okay. For the interviews and everything.
Yes.
Oh, yeah, in February, yeah.
Yes. So and then the faster you get a decision, the faster you can really see how much further ahead you are on their selection ladder.
Yeah.
At least for some schools, it works that way.
I still have to look into it. I'm very new to these business school applications and everything. So, let's see.
Okay. By the way, have you given a review of the e-GMAT course on GMAT Club?
Not yet.
Not yet. Can you find some time to do this? I know you're busy with applications.
I'll do that right now.
Okay. All right. I think that's about it, Fahad. Thank you. It was great talking to you. And I'll wait to hear from you about, which schools you get into. And then hopefully in March, we can talk about your experience and to really say how you went about doing this. Say it again. You cut out.
I said, hopefully I'll come back with something good to talk about.
Oh, I'm sure you will.
So,
I mean, you have the right background, you have the right goals. If you have an amazing score, if you don't come back, it will not be because you don't have the potential. It will be because you screwed up.
probably.
So don't screw up.
Yeah, hopefully not.
Yeah. So I mean, you're working with the right people also. I mean, working with Harold at MBA Mission, I think it's a good smart choice. So so you should. I'd be very surprised if you don't.
Yeah, let's see.
Yes. Okay. All right. Good luck, Fahad.
Thank you so much, Rajat.
And send me that 770 ESR.
Yeah. And I'll keep you posted.
All right. Thank you. Bye-bye.